Not to interrupt. Just, you may notice some of you people that were wilder oriented before you came here. No such a thing existed. You may be seeing with this trader's greed and all the other stuff that you're now becoming more bullish about your life. Just notice that if you're doing that.
Absolutely. I'm an early principal. I'm trained from that online. Tough stuff. This is meant to make things effortless, for effortless, easy embodiment. Yeah, so now we can move on to keeping the castle. You guys have seen me get that, eh? So, keeping the castle. The castle, of course, is all that is important to us. The castle is our home. It is our family, and it is also our wealth, our abundance. This is the financial side, and all the other parts are connected to it as well. If you have really large bank account and then your castle becomes a little shack, well, you're probably not going to be as happy as you used to be in terms of having experienced that dramatic change. Why protect the castle? Why do I protect the castle? Is, well, one of the reasons are my two wonderful girls. That's Kayla, that's Madison. And this is me, because I'm not at home right now. So my daughter made, that's my white gray hair. My smiley face and all that stuff. That is why I protect my castle. To connect this to the angry discussion that we had yesterday, I would strongly suggest that you also come up with reasons why you want to protect your castle. So maybe it's a picture of something that you want to do, or the reason, your why for protecting and safeguarding your castle. Volatility and ABR, we just talked about that. Volatility. So the thing with volatility in the markets is it is somewhat predictable, but it's not. It is predictable to the mathematicians, to the academics, but those same academics say a Black Friday thing will never happen. They say the likelihood of the market going down as fast as it did is 1 to the 10 billionth type of event. But that happened, and there haven't been a billion plus trading days. Just the same as, well, the Dow Jones went down quite a bit recently. And again, that was supposed to be statistically impossible, but it did. It's just the same as saying it is statistically impossible that everybody in this resort will be leaving at exactly 3:33 p.m. But you do know how that can be possible?
Fire alarms.
Exactly. Fire alarm, hurricane, whatever the reason might be, all of a sudden, the statistics go out the window and you have an event which drives the market. So that's why it's really important to do stress testing. Stress test is, of course, when you are pushing your limits to see how bad things will, or how much you can take on. So if it's exercise, if VO2 exercise, see how much oxygen you can take in. If it's one type of stress test. In the stress tests in the world of trading is, okay, well, what's going to happen if everything goes down by 10%? And saying, okay, well, can I sleep at night? That is one of the best stress tests. If you are in a position and you're losing sleep over and you can't sleep, that's a sign that it's a little too stressful. So therefore, you should either shrink your position size, get out of things, and so forth. And it's really important that people actually do that. And a lot of people don't. And the thing with stress tests is, generally speaking, if we're invested in something, or let's say it's your long-term investments for your retirement, are we optimistic or are we pessimistic in terms of what we hope our investments will do? Optimistic. So because we have that natural bias, we will typically have a harder time imagining what that worst case scenario might be. In 2008, markets went down about 50%. How many people stress tested at 50%? Most people don't. Most people won't. And really crappy thing is that thing that most people forget or don't do in their stress test is understand that when it rains, it gets really bad, and then the news is so bad, we all get sucked into it, and it just drives this massive move down. And then, and somebody asked me about, do you use margin? Do you use margin in your trading accounts? It's really important to understand your margin formula. Now, margin formula, what's the margin formula? Most of the people don't even know what margin formula is, or how it relates. So the margin formula is how much your broker will lend to you beyond what is actually in your account. So how much, because you're borrowing when you're using margin, and they will lend to you based on what they view is the riskiness of that stock. So for example, if it was SPY, which is not very volatile, they would typically go 30%. Meaning, if you go 100, about 0.3 is how much they would get lent to you. So call it about three times the amount. Now, if it is a high-tech stock, a new high-tech stock, or marijuana stocks are very have a lot of media attention right now. They will be maybe 50% margin. So they will lend to you equal to the amount that you're putting in. So if you have $100, they'll lend to you 200, as an example. Or it could be 70%. Or in the case of penny stock, they won't lend to you at all. So the problem with margin formulas, and I had to do a lot of research to find this, because that's just who I am. Right? I wanted to make sure. And the suspicion that I had is, and based on the IB alerts that I have, for example, when Trump was elected, or when Great Britain had their vote and so forth, is that they sent me notices about what they're going to do to your margin account. So I thought, well, they will do it preemptively. What happens when the market goes sour as it did just the other week? And are there cases where that type of situation is bad for the trader? And did a whole bunch of research. There are actually lawsuits about this, where because overnight there's an event, like the whole XIV thing is a perfect example. Overnight they say, okay, well we're not doing this anymore. So trader, you bought $10,000 worth of this. You only had 5,000, we lend you 5. Well, we're not going to lend you 5 anymore. We're not going to give you any more anymore. So you actually owe us 5,000. And the trader wakes up. Where are $5,000? Liquidated. So then, because they'll change the margin formula, and then if you don't have enough money in your account, or if you can't fund it quickly enough, they will sell your position to reduce their risk. So your broker is not your friend, as in they are there to manage their business, and when things get risky, they will do things to reduce their risk, which may come at your expense. I mentioned about the lawsuits. There's some lawsuit right now of over $1 million. This trader changed the formula, pulled out of his positions, lost several $1 million. Very successful trader. And how much can you do about it? He said, well, you know, you changed it so quickly. But try fighting a massive company who's up $10 million. So stress testing, we'll do the stress test, but then when it rains it pours, it's like, what's going to happen to that rope now? With that rock falling on it. Have you guys heard of LJM funds? LJM funds. I did some more research on this one. Ironically, and I don't know if there's a connection or not. I don't think there is, but just in doing the research, it made me laugh. So the CFO of Enron set up a fund called LJM, and then there's this other fund called LJM as well. Of course, you know about the thinking behind what ended up happening in that situation. So LJM fund was a fund that talks about, oh, well, it's the LJM Wealth Preservation and Growth Fund. They have a chief risk officer. They have a compliance officer. I don't know who those are. They have 10 plus people. They have a CFA, portfolio manager, all these different people, very smart people. They had at least 2 different risk officers running that fund. But do you know what they actually did? They were just doing volatility trading. Overnight, their fund went down 80%. Can you imagine if you were one of their clients investing in this fund, you put $100,000 trusting in management, and you see the nice fancy web page and all the other stuff, and overnight it drops 80% and they're closing their fund. Protect your passive. It does take time to do due diligence, to do research and so forth, but it's really important to understand the importance of doing that. And later on, I'll be talking a bit more about my own story with the fund management, which manage tens of millions of dollars. If you do the academic research, it will say portfolio is diversified when you reach about 20 stocks. So if you put a little bit more, you put 30, it starts to even out. It's the curve flattens, and you don't get as much return back to investments in terms of reducing risk when you get to 30 funds. The problem with that is the academics that are saying that. Like modern portfolio theory does not apply because these aren't traders. You should actually be at about 40 stocks or more. And if you are, say, I want to be more fully invested and so forth, if you only have 20 stocks, make up that other 20 by buying, say, spot, or like put it into a diversified index fund to make up for that difference. Yes?
So when you say 40 stocks, are those individual stocks, or are we talking ETFs or other index funds?
I'm talking about 40 individual stocks. So I'm not talking about number of shares, but different companies, Apple, Facebook, Boeing, et cetera, et cetera. What's happening with globalization is one of the reasons that 20 doesn't work, one of the reasons that 30 doesn't work, is that what happens in the States has a ripple effect in Asia. So when the Dow went down to 1,000 points, what happened in Asia, what happened in Europe, they also went down. And so the diversification that used to be in the world is not as, well, there's a lot more correlation is what it means. Okay. And normally I don't ask for questions during my presentation, but because I am using a bit more jargon than normal, if there's a word that you don't understand that I'm using, raise your hand and then I can at least help you clarify that. Okay. And yeah, so the stats and math is often done by non-traders, and they really are trying to give the scientific advice, whatnot. Use broad, and then actually I should say use broad indexes to make the difference. So broad index means an index is not specialized in one particular industry. So for example, XLF is the financial sub-index. So all they invest in are the financial stocks. So Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, and so forth. I would not use. You can use it as a stock replacement, but not as an index replacement. The index replacement would be SPY, would be QQQ, and would be IWM.
There's a list under the Wall Street long-term section called active indexes. And there's like 200 something in there.
Sure. Lessons from an insurance salesman. So it was funny. John was talking about the travails, the struggles of the insurance salesman and how it was tough to make insurance sales. So I'm going to share with you lessons from an insurance salesman. In fact, personal lessons from an insurance salesman. Because I know this insurance salesman so well that I sleep with this insurance salesman every single night. This insurance salesman had a tough time making sales in the beginning because it goes to the client, no, you really need life insurance. When you've got 5 kids, you've got $500,000 in debt. I don't need life insurance. I'm not going to die, right? That's the conversation, and that's how you don't sell life insurance. You're not going to be very successful if you start painting out the worst case scenario, and the brain doesn't like it. The brain doesn't like it because the brain can't actually tell what's real or not. That's why you have the Olympic athletes envisioning all this stuff, because the brain will fire off the neurochemicals for it. I mean, Tony Robbins does it. Close your eyes, imagine a lemon, you bite into the lemon, and then you get all slabby and you start drooling and everything else. The brain can't tell the difference. So, flip it around on the risk management side. What do? What is important to do is then start to imagine the worst case scenario and how you would respond to that worst case scenario. my own personal portfolio, because I'm a trend trader, when what happened a couple of weeks ago, oh my God, it was bad. And I projected everything out. And it was almost accurate. I was off by about 10% in terms of what happened to my portfolio. So that was a really good lesson. So that even though I had done my checking what my worst case scenario was, because of the way options move and so forth, it moved further than the pricing moved further than I had expected. And so I thought, okay, well, good to know. So how do I make the improvement moving forward? Because it's always about moving forward. It's always about getting better and better and better. And that's how you train your brain. In terms of your own. What would happen if everything went down this much? Can I sleep at night? Am I okay with that? So this is where you have to do it yourself in terms of, because everyone has different processes. But just remember that probably is going to be the reality when the prep hits the band is going to be worse. Back testing for money. So this is the other side of risk management, of course. Is a lot of people don't want to do the back testing. They don't want to do the 500 tests. They don't want to measure everything out. They don't want to track everything. This is where the money is. This is the money that you protect, and this is the money that you grow when you do back testing. So again, in terms of talking about association, when you're back testing, think of those big bags of money. Think of those big bags of money when you're doing your back testing, because that's what it's going to give you. That's what it's going to provide for you when you do solid back testing. And whenever you're tired, you take your walk, you put on your socks, your spandex, rollerblades, go rollerblade, get all of your system, come back, remember the big bag of money, and then you do more back testing. And the payoff of commitment. Oh yes, this is in terms of keeping the castle and in terms of providing perspective, something really, really important that I want to share with you. So my first stock trading mentor, more famous person I mentored under him. He shared with me a very important story, or described to me a very important comparison. How do you make that link? A doctor. How many years of school do you think a doctor has to go through before they become a doctor? A specialist. Oh, okay. So how many years would a doctor need to be going to med school? Well, first they do the doctors, right? But is it 8 years?
11, yeah.
11 years to be a specialist? 13 or so. That's a lot of time. That's a lot of practice. That's a lot of study. And if you're a doctor, how much does a really successful doctor make? 250 up, 500 up, somewhere around there, depending on your country and so forth. They make a good 6, possibly 7-figure income. And so what my mentor said to me is, if you're a doctor, if you're a lawyer, you go through all of this school, go through all this training, you invest all of this money in your education, so that one day you end up making the 6-figure income, the 7-figure income. Traders, do you know how much a top trader can make? How much?
A top trader?
Yeah, or even a successful trader. 6, 7 figures. And so when my mentor shared with me, he's like, a top trader can make, $100,000, $250,000, $1 million, $10 million, $100 million. Ray Dalio makes over $1 billion a year. $1 billion a year. Ray Dalio runs Bridgewater. And so that's the finish line in terms of this is the financial payoff for that training. If people go, oh, I can't trade this. Oh, I suck after 3 months. Well, did your doctor quit after 3 months? So have some perspective on it. That is the payoff of commitment. You commit to it. This is what you commit. My training, it was so funny. A few of the times I'm having my calls with him and stuff like that. We do a video conference call. He's in Hawaii. He's in Costa Rica. He's all over the place. And he can trade anywhere in the world that has an internet connection. And make money. He climbs mountains and he trades. Like an amazing lifestyle. Like that's the payoff of commitment. That was mine. And so putting all of that together is why it's really important to have that perspective. In terms of why I do what I do, why I approach trading the way that I do. It's for that. And it's because my kids miss me, and I just wanted to share that with you as well. So, oh yes, I have another neuro-linguistic poem for you guys. Talk about the castle. This was written many years ago. It's really ironic that the stuff that I wrote before has a lot of relevance now. It's like I was training, and I didn't know I was training to be here with you. Awesome. So, this castle is mine.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I get these tears in my eyes. This castle is mine. Wanted a house, but was given a boat. Wanted a castle, then got a boat. Why is that? What I wish and desire ends up in flames and burning in fire. So I took what was given and got in the boat. Set up the sail and then went afloat. I wanted a house in the still of the ocean. So I sailed and sailed with breathless devotion. Drifting and drifting, pushed by the wind, I drifted by houses but never looked in. I was so happy, just drifting along. That is until the wind did blow strong. I swerved to the left, and I swerved to the right. I bounced through the day, and I bounced through the night. I thought to myself, where is the justice? I asked for a house, and now I'm in this. And in that moment, I saw it so clear that I had received what I wanted most dear. I love to sail and run away. I love to sail every night and day. So I got a boat, and I got a moat, and I sailed around just like an old dote. But now I see what I once did not. This boat was mine because it was sought. So I docked my boat and stepped on shore, walked into my castle and opened the door. I get what I want with clear set intention. This castle is mine, with all my attention. So yeah, thank you for being here. I hope that was helpful.
Ask a question?
Yeah.
Would it be okay if maybe in that little ID live trader window that we have, and the day trader that we created an R window for people?
That sounds good. You check with John?
Yeah, John, is that okay? I'm just sure.
I never said don't stop the dog.
All right. How are we doing for time? How are you guys feeling? Okay, it's we've got 20 minutes. You're not trying to rush anyways.
Yeah, I noticed Anthony wasn't here yesterday, and I don't see Jen or Anthony today. What's going on?
Well, you were late.
I was late. You announced it earlier.
No, I told Roger.
Yes, he did.
Earlier. So, for those that
I was here.
For those that were also late, Yeah, Anthony and Jen are engaged to be married. And,
As of yesterday.
As of yesterday. So, he's a great guy. I'm glad it's in my family now. So I have made, stronger connections with all of you this week. And we have with each other, and coaches and such like that. And, I'm not chasing Anthony away, I'm just answering questions, with him, during. And that's part of the value of being here. So for, I'm gonna pick on again. Would you have had as good a connection with Steven if you were watching videos on Identity versus being here? No. No. If we made videos of Steven, like 5-hour videos, you think it would still have the same flavor?
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to be disrespectful of us watching the live stream. I'm trying to actually get. I don't know about you, but you know when you go to the menu and you order the thing, and it's like, well, what do you have? Well, I'll have the steak and I'll have the what. But if you're 2D, you get the picture of whatever the menu is. And you can sort of, like, you know, brain thing, you can imagine what that lemon's like and all that. But it's not the same. And I'm making that point because I've been asked a few times, well, couldn't we just offer the recording of the video as a something that people can just get later for watching? Yes, no, because I'm in a sense critical of being here. And why would I do that? That's a design error. And being nice. Some of my biggest errors in life are because I was too nice. So I don't do that. I'm really much of a not doing that because it doesn't make sense. Right? So same as keeping your castle. Right? Not doing that because it doesn't make sense.
Well, it's great. And I'm having all that money and that amazing.
No. Right? So a few guys that talked to me, you know, says, well, thanks for that idea about QCC. I've been thinking about that. I know all those people. Is don't put all your money in that. Because I also know that there are people. And most of those in that company are running most of the time frog, dog kind of mindset. Some of them are cognitive some of the time. This is just, you know, they're 1.0 most of the time. No matter whether they're them or not, that's just, you know, you can flip the coin. Like, I picked up on the other day, I asked Jay, I said, well, you know, when your uncle, and he just, ding, came up the response that, well, he said these things. That's because I could have done it low. And that was one instance, and we had like 5,000 of those little neurological pop-ups that are now running the show. This is why this is a very weird event to be at, and I didn't tell you, well, we're going to do this. If I told you the style of what we're doing, let's be honest. And then if when you actually said, yeah, I'm going to go to listen to you talk about brain layers and wants and that, you know, are not needs. Would you come for that?
Absolutely.
But if you would have heard from, you know, people here in the room that said, well, what was the result? What did you get from being here? And then you would know that you could tell somebody else. What did you get as a result? What's the outcome? The outcome of a keep the castle process is keep the castle. Right? The outcome of a trading process is now you have the big why of having a trading process. Last week you didn't have a big why unless you were in his face. You know, and even then, maybe But now you have really some tools that have never really existed in this convenient format called One Week Convenient. That's why I want you guys like here, why we're not offering a, yes, you get the access to the recording, but we're not saying, by the way, you can look at the audio recording and not be present. See, these people that are on live stream, they got their butts in the chair. It's not like, well, you know, it's Tuesday night, I got a hockey game where I'll watch maybe 20 minutes of something. Those people are not serious. And the call out that we did was, if you're serious, you should be here. So is it okay with you guys that we're not offering this as a recording to other people? Okay, so when I say, you know, please do a testimonial, it's not because I need to be busy. I got lots of things I'd love to do. It's because it's like, well, if we get people to come to an event like this, doesn't that help them be better people? Right? That's all. That's the only reason I'm asking for the testimonial is because if this is the only event we ever do, that'd be okay with you.
No,
Well, why not?
I want more.
Yeah. But what about your community? See, I would have loved my buddy to have not blown out his account at least 2 times at 25 by 25, right? $50,000. If I could have said, okay, this is my prototype for courses, and it's just you. Oh, you sit here, and it's gonna cost you $5,000. If he would have known, he would have saved 50. Like the other 45 that he would have kept in his pocket, he would have actually been able to invest and grow. Like you guys now know. Like, why the hell would I, but last week it'd be like, yeah, you know, that looked pretty good. That trade, you know, that OST, right? But this week it's like, are you kidding me? I'm not wasting my time throwing my money on a stupid thing like that. Huge shift for you in a very, very short period of time. Can't be done with even 1,000 hours of video. It's not possible. So that's why I'm thinking, that, you know, we're going to take a few testimonials today. Jen and Anthony are going to be back at 4. They're going to run whatever that is. And then they're going to do it again tomorrow at 4. So if you feel like you want to tell people the why, from your perspective, it's worth being here, because I can't explain it any better than you guys. You actually will have the words to tell them. And it's not exactly for you. It's really for other people that have over that. And the idea is that there was a store that I used to go to that made sub sandwiches. Best sub sandwiches I've ever had. And then for a few years I wasn't driving, I wasn't near there. And it was well priced. It was, you know, properly priced. But it was like, oh yeah, if I'm anywhere here, I'm gonna go to Paul Subs. I'm gonna go on mushroom. But I had to go there for a long time. Then I found out that the business was closed. And it's like, somebody would have said, you know, if you would have just given them $1 more, they'd still be in business. Or if a few more people came to the store, they'd be in business. I'd be like, well, hell yeah, I would do that. It's one of those lost little treasures. So we're at the moment right now where this becomes a lost treasure or continues. Now, I know we have a team here that's committed to making it happen, but what I'm actually asking is I need your help, the team in the surrounding area with one simple thing. Just say, if you want to, this is why you need to be here. And it's not going to be available on video because it doesn't work. So we will do these for the benefit of other people. We're not getting rich on this stuff, as you heard earlier. He paid for his own airfare, hotel, and whatever, so that he could deliver a message for you. And you have other people. Did I pay for your airfare? And back there, they pay for their own. As Murray paid for his own, Scott paid for his own. So the idea is, we covered some costs, but not the costs. And it's ridiculous to think that a quality business is going to exist from some guy wanted to just keep throwing money, it doesn't happen. Anyways, that's not a down moment for you. No, it's just one of those, it's like, yeah, I'd like to see that go. I'd like to see more people with that. Because the thing that we got was mindset.
Can I add something? Absolutely.
I just say let's thank these guys.
I wanted to add, well, so we can also imagine the impact that we've had and how it can affect our loved ones as well. And how a loved one might be in a place where they're struggling financially. And how, if they were empowered to know the stuff that you do, and we have people from all walks of life, right? So many different types of people that it's not like you have to have. It's more about human 2.0 to become a better trader. So any of our loved ones can become a human 2.0 and a very successful trader. And this is the gift that really put as well by
We're actually affecting the planet. Ground zeros.
yeah. That's
So, enjoy lunch. We'll see you all around one.
Gracias. Okay, ma'am. It's going Yeah, that's what we're getting. Quick question.
Thank you, sir.
So basically, what you're saying is like, your game is 2% out of 5,000.
Well,